much. The reason that I ask that is because I know what the genesis of this is. But this resolution is, I believe, historic in more ways than one. All right. So when we talk about our English learners and making a commitment to them as far as their academic success is concerned, and that commitment emanating from the state, us adopting it, that is historic. And so when you talk about that, when all of you talk about that, I think that is, it's fantastic. But one of the things that I have talked about since I've been on this board is that the kids who attend school in West Contra Costa USD, whether they are English learners or standard English learners, they have the same issues and they have the same problems academically. Their scores are almost the same. They talk the same. I mean, they have the same issues, but they're treated differently. And, you know, one of the things that I've had conversations about, particularly with older African Americans when I'm talking about the scores, and, you know, I'll lay the scores out. I'll say, okay, African American students are performing, you know, at this level, Asian students are here, and Latinos are here. And one of the things that I have heard consistently, to be honest, is surprise that African American students are not doing as well as our English learners sometimes. I've heard this multiple times where people will say, you know, this is our native language, so they make assumptions, and then I get this surprise. And one of the things that's so beautiful, and I mean beautiful, is not an exaggeration, one of the things that's so beautiful about this resolution is it is acknowledging that we have two sets of students who are in the same environment, who face the same issues, and who need the same help. And I believe if you want to talk about policies being passed that have big impact, or that can have big impact, that could actually change things, this is one of them. So I want to thank everybody who has worked on this. I want to thank people for seeing the potential for crossover in this, because this is something, and you always talk about implementation and things needing to be implemented, but if we pull this off, and I think we can, this is going to be phenomenal, for our students. This is a story, Mr. Duffy, when you talk about telling our story, this is a story that should be told. When you go, and particularly, not just when you go to African American groups, you need to talk about this. Because this is something that has been on folks' minds, whether staff hears it or not. This is something that's been on folks' minds for a long time. Because one of the things that this is talking about, even though it doesn't say it, it's talking about parity, right? And recognizing that everybody needs this type of help. And I really believe this, and people will appreciate this. Our parents or our English learners will appreciate, our African American, they will appreciate this. I also want to thank staff for taking this back, because I remember, this came up earlier, and we had the conversation around MDAC not actually reviewing this. And I remember when we had the conversations, I could be I'm going to apologize a little bit. I could be a little rough sometimes, and it may not always be the easiest when I'm up here because I'm a very passionate person, and my mother will say it too. You're a little rough, but I'm so glad that you guys did take this back, and you didn't bring it back immediately. Right? That was a while ago when you guys were here. But what happened is you guys took the time and you came up with a beautiful piece of work that can help change lives. And so I know sometimes we want to do things quickly. Sometimes I want us to do things quickly. But there is this line or this balancing act, right, between taking the time to get it right and getting the product done expeditiously, and I think you guys hit the balance. I'm going to stop now, but I want to say thank you to everybody who worked on this, because I think this is something that will have a impact district-wide, and it's something that needs to be told. Honestly, when we were talking about willful defiance and how that impacts kids, and this is just as big in a different way, but this is just as big. So thank you very much for taking the time to do this and to do it right.
Thank you, Trustee Phillips. Trustee Cuevas.
Just on that sentiment, I'm going to go ahead and motion this resolution that we approve it, and if we can get a second, we can have more conversation.